Alright, drummers, we're now on Foundation Drum Kit piece number 2. And if we're looking at the first bar, we see a very strange thing in the middle of the bar on beat 3. Alright? So what we've got there is a quaver rest. I've had some students that have said to me, oh, it looks like a number 7. I like to think about it like a backwards Q because it reminds me that it's a quaver rest. How long does a quaver last? Half a beat. Isn't that right? Half a beat. Now, where it is on the space where the bass drum note appears. So actually, it just applies to the bass drum, which leads us to think about how we lay out drum kit notation. So there's actually 2 places where we can write the notes and rests. We can write them inside the staff or the stave, and we can write them up above, for instance, where the hi-hat notes are. So the quaver rest is just on the bass drum, all right? And then right beside it, we've got a quaver note. That little note, note head, stem, and then what we call a tail or a flag. All right, so that's the layout of bar 1. We're going to look at how to play that just now. All right, so let's see how that quaver rest in the middle of the bar gives us a new rhythm. The first half looks very similar to rock rhythm number 1, doesn't it? We've got our 1 and 2 and, but then we've got that rest on beat 3. So what I would suggest is, again, use the same method that you did before. Leave out the hi-hat, but keep counting it through as you play it between the bass drum and the snare drum. And again, we're going to do it slowly. So 3, 4, 1, 2, and rest, and 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 4. Okay, so we're counting out the quavers as if we're playing them, but we're just doing it between the bass drum and snare drum. The next stage is to try and add in those quavers on the hi-hat, all right? And the other thing to note is just remember that the quaver note on beat on the and of 3, just before beat 4, it's only a quaver, so it's a short note. So it's and 4, all right? And 4. And make sure you're just playing 4 beats in the bar. Sometimes I have students that make that just a little bit too long at this stage. They've still got crotchets in their head. But that's a short note, all right? And you don't want to have any more than just the 4 beats in the bar. So try it without the hi-hat, then try it by adding in the hi-hat. Again, slowly. 1, 2, and rest, and 4. 1, 2, and rest, and 4. 1, 2, rest, and last time. Alright, so the other thing to recognize in this piece is that bar 2, the second bar, is quite similar to the first bar, apart from the very start of the bar where we're going to play 2 quavers instead of a crotchet. Now, whenever we look at the 2 bars together, we've actually got a little 2-bar phrase, okay? A 2-bar phrase. So, then whenever we look along the line, we say, oh, bar 3, we're repeating bar 1, and bar 4, we're repeating bar 2. So there's our 2-bar phrase again. And on the second line, the 2-bar phrase appears again, all right? So, let's go back to the second bar of our 2-bar phrase. As I said, it's very similar to the first one, apart from 1 and 2 and 4. Let's do that again. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and those 2 quavers on the bass drum. 1 and 2 and 4. All right. Now we're going to add in the hi-hat. 3, 4. 1 and 2. Still in the second bar. Second bar. Let's count it. 1 and 2 and rest, and 4. 1 and 2 and rest, and 4. All right. Let's put the 2 bars together. Here we go. Still doing it slowly. 3, 4. 1. 1 and. Back to 1. First 2 bars. 1 and again back to the first bar, 2 and 4. Second bar, 1 and 2 and 4. All right, so that's the first 2 bars. It's a 2-bar phrase of number 2. And if you're able to play that 2-bar phrase, you get down to the middle of the second line. We're going to play the very first bar again, and then we have a drum fill. Again, if you were looking through and playing through the snare drum exercises, you'll recognize these all as quavers. The last 2 pairs should have been joined up, it's just the way it's come out in the print. So we've basically got 8 quavers in the bar. Difficulty is we're going between the bass drum and the snare drum, because the fill sounds like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again, try to keep your sticks alternate single sticks as much as possible. Don't do a one-arm bandit when you're doing drum fills. All right, try to get used to using both your hands. Here we'll go again: 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and up above you see that semi-breve rest. Again, we've explained before, 2 places where we can write notes and rests and drum kit notation inside the main body of the staff or the stave, and up above and here up above we've got a semi-breve rest. All right, you should remember from your note tree, a semi-breve lasts 4 beats. All right, so a semi-breve rest lasts 4 beats, and that's our drum fill. And just while we're at it, we're going to look at the other fills. So we're going to skip down to the last bar of the third line. In fact, the last 2 bars of the third line. The third bar is very simple. We're going to play the bass drum on the 1, and then there's 3 beats rest. We've got a crotchet rest there. We've got a minim rest, and then we've got the semi-breve rest up above. So it's just the bass drum. So let's count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last bar: 1, rest, 3 and 4 and right, left, right, left. Last 2 bars of the third line: 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. And that's that fill. If we jump down to the very last line, we've got another fill between our hands and our feet, very similar to the fill at the end of line 2. We're going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And again, if that's a wee bit of a struggle and you were playing some of those other fills a bit better, then certainly just use one of those. The key parts to these pieces is to be able to play the rhythms. All right, so if some of the fills are a wee bit tricky, you can change them yourself, but I would certainly aim at trying to play them, and then we can move on from there. All right, so I haven't forgotten about the third line of number 2. The third line of number 2. Do we have any quaver rests on the bass drum? No. So it's a busy bass drum. All right, so the pattern there is going to be 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and let's add in the hi-hats, and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and. All right, so it's a bit heavier than that. This piece has got a kind of a driving rock backing to it anyway. So line 3, we've got those 3 quavers in a row. Don't be playing any quaver rests in there at that part anyway, and then you'll be playing that correctly. All right, on to the last line. We've already looked at the fill at the end of the last line, but all we're going to do in the last line is play the very first bar of the piece and repeat it another 2 times. We're going to play it 3 times in total. All right, so it's back to our regular rhythm there, with the quaver rest on beat 3 and with the quaver note on the and of 3. 1, 2 and rest and 4. 1, 2 and rest and 4. All right, so that's number 2. And again, I hope you have fun with that. Keep pressing on, keep chipping away at those pieces, and you'll do fine. Hi Hi drummers, it's Alan here. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Plus, hit the links to become a Belfast Drum Channel member and get access to extra full graded lessons up to the professional level. Thanks so much again, and bye for now.